Hello, everybody. Today I am so excited to share with you my newly recreated gluten free sourdough starter. This is so much easier to make, maintain, and there is no daily discarding and no daily feedings. So, if you want to see how easy this is to do, just keep watching and I'll show you how it's done. So I start the starter in a bowl, and I'm using brown rice flour here. You can also use any whole grain flour such as buckwheat, teff. I can't think of any amaranth. They're all listed in the recipe post, so just hit that and you'll be able to see all the ones that you can start this with. And what I'm going for the first day is 50 grams of the flour. And then I'm going to do 60 grams of water. But first, I want to show you, I start out with 50 grams and I want to show you how thick it is. So you'll want to go for more of a thick pancake-like batter consistency instead of like a bread dough consistency like we're going to get here in a second. See how this is really thick, so you know it needs more water. So I'm going to add 10 more grams of water to it, and that should loosen it up nicely, perfect for the consistency that we're going for. This is perfect. This is the consistency you want, to where it's kind of drippy, but not quite. So I am going to cover this with a paper plate. Actually, I found this to be the best option. If you don't buy paper plates, no biggie. You can cover it with something that, even a regular plate, just leave it like kind of cracked open. So you want a little bit of breathability in there. So day 2 now, we're going to take off the cover, and to this we're going to add 30 grams of flour and 40 grams of water. Mix it all up, put the cover back on, wait until the next day. Day 3, same thing. Take the cover off, 30 grams of your flour of choice, and 40 grams of water. Put the cover back on. I know it seems repetitious, but I promise it's going to change. Day 4, same thing. But you might be able to see a few little bubbles forming, which is a good sign of activity. So we do our usual 30 grams of flour, 40 grams of water, mix it all up, put our cover back on it, let it sit overnight. More than overnight, 24 hours. Day 5, here's where things change. And it starts getting kind of exciting. You can really start seeing the activity, especially that liquid. That is hooch. And you can start seeing some bubbles forming. This is actually, when I started this was in the middle of winter, like our coldest part of winter here in Virginia Beach. It was like in the 20s and 30s. And I still have bubbles forming. So good sign. So I'm going to discard half of this. And I'm just roughly, discarding. I'm not measuring or anything. This and a few other times will be the only time we will discard. And once we have the starter active, there is no like constant discarding. You will just be feeding. So I went ahead and fed it as per normal, 30 grams of flour, 40 grams of water. Day 6, you can see the activity starting. You can see the bubbliness. Do you see that there? Look at all those bubbles. That doesn't mean this is ready to go now. Just work with it because it's gonna look like it's not working probably in a day or two. And that's totally normal as well. So it is not strong enough to use in a bread. But day 6, we are not going to discard anything. We're just going to feed it with our normal 30 grams of flour, 40 grams of water. Day 7, now we're going to discard again. So it's basically from day 5 every other day. But let's take a look at this. Look at how bubbly this is. It's nice and bubbly underneath. And I know this can be deceiving. It can look like it's ready to go, but please just wait a few more days. Just a few more days. Because you will be rewarded with really awesome sourdough bread. So we're going to discard half of this roughly. Again, no need to measure the discard. And then, as per usual, 30 grams of flour, 40 grams of water, stir, cover. Let's set 24 hours. Day 8, no need to discard. The usual feeding, cover. Day 9, discard. And you'll actually see here, it's kind of not looking great. It's not very bubbly. It looks pretty thick. That's okay. That is totally normal. Just go ahead and feed it after you discard. Day 10. Now, here's where we check it. We're checking for activity. So what I do is basically I'm checking for movement here. And it's looking like it's starting to move like kind of as a whole. And then of course I am looking for bubbly activity. And I also smell it. Make sure it smells nice and sour. This is ready to go, day 10. If you don't see these bubbles, continue on every other day discarding, feed it until you do see good activity. Then you just put it in a jar like this and put it in the fridge. When you're ready to use it, you take it out, let it sit for a couple of hours just to come to room temperature, and then you want to feed it with 50 grams of flour and 60 grams of water. Stir it up until well combined. Put the lid back on and let it sit at room temperature until it has doubled in size. Just like this. I'm shaking it around so you can see all the bubbles popping on top. Once it's to this point, you are ready to use it in any gluten-free sourdough recipe. And I have one on the blog, on my YouTube channel. I'll leave links. It is wonderful. It's probably one of my favorite breads I make. It is just so tangy and delicious. Enjoy.